Let's imagine that there's someone who takes your work as seriously as you do yourself. Let's imagine the security of always finding what you're seeking. Let's imagine that you have the very latest technology and the most complete range in the world. Let's imagine that you have a service that is a world leader in time and cover. Let's imagine 10 factories at your service worldwide. Let's imagine an investment of 25% of our profits in R&D. Today, we have made this a reality, offering you leading service and technology in the aftermarket. After 35 years of putting the brakes on all kinds of cars and industrial vehicles, imagination is the only thing we can't break. Roadhouse is the leading manufacturer in friction materials in the European aftermarket. With 35 years of experience, more than 200 million euros of annual sales, 12 factories in Europe and America, and ambitious plans for expansion in America and Asia, our goal is to be a unique reference point in quality, service, range and technology in the automobile industry. A goal that every day we set further away, as far as our imagination can reach. The growing complexity of the world's automobiles and the need to have stocks in line with increasingly demanding requirements mean that we spare no expense when it comes to launching a new list item. For that reason, we make the most of all our technical and human resources to develop the world's most complete range in the shortest possible time. All of that is available in our automatic stores, which have more than 500,000 items in stock, ensuring infallible service in cover and speed, a service that is unique. With a production of more than 150 million pieces and 20 million sets of pads a year, Roadhouse has a fully integrated production system ranging from the production of the backplate to the friction material, the accessories or the anti-noise shims, which means that we can ensure the quality and uniformity of our entire production. Our main added value in this regard lies in offering you the best production technology known in the world of friction through automatic deep mold presses, fully monitored cure and scorch ovens, anti-corrosion paint lines, and all the technological innovations that represent a constant improvement in the safety and reliability of the product. The stamping of the metal support in 400-ton presses is fundamental in achieving the complete flatness of the piece. A basic characteristic to prevent the appearance of vibrations, noises, and loss of the friction material. Subsequent secondary operations and the shot blasting and cleaning ensure an optimum backplate for the gluing and pressing of the mix. This is one of the most delicate processes in the production of a pad. The mix of materials and their pressing cycle are designed to obtain a material that can maintain a stable coefficient of friction across the range of temperatures and pressures, doing so comfortably, silently, and with the longest possible product life. All of this takes place under the strict control of the R&D and quality teams, whose goal is not only the search for the performance of the friction material, but to make a material that respects the environment and health, free of heavy metals and carcinogenic fibers. Mineral loads, lubricants, fibers, organic materials, abrasives, graphites, premixes, a whole range of raw materials dosified electronically in quantity and in time to achieve a mix that is always homogeneous. More than 90% of Roadhouse's production is produced in deep mold automatic presses in which the pressure and time cycles are controlled by a computer. This kind of pressing guarantees uniformity in the porosity and density of the material, providing obvious improvements in braking comfort and performance, with the result that the industrial efficiency in the production is reflected in the final quality of the product. After pressing and sticking the material to the backplate, the pad moves on to a curing process which takes place in continuous ovens, where for between 7 and 10 hours it is subjected to different temperatures, from the ambient temperature to more than 200 degrees centigrade. The production batches are inspected thoroughly to check there are no cracks or flaws in the surface of the pad. Roadhouse's exclusive HPT process consists in exposing the friction material to a heat treatment on the surface, reaching 650 degrees centigrade, while being pressed at 1 ton to stop the evaporation of gases and inefficient materials that cause fading, especially the first few times that brakes are used. This is a costly and delicate process and is characteristic only of manufacturers of the highest level. If this process is not carried out, the driver will suffer it after installation when the pads reach the sufficient temperature. So scorching provides the following advantages. It reduces the settling in period of the pads. It improves the coefficient of friction after the first few brakings. It reduces the appearance of noises and vibrations. It prevents crystallization of the friction material. The anti-corrosion painting stage and heat drying prevents the appearance of oxides and impurities in the pad, contributing a fine termination of the product before the accessories and anti-noise shims are fitted. The level of accessorization of Roadhouse pads is recognized as one of our added values. We consider that it's necessary to make available to professionals all the items that could suffer wear during use, so as to ensure correct functioning of the braking system. We know that continual innovation and technology are the true driving force of our market. That's why we invest 25% of our profits in our R&D department, researching, developing and testing new friction materials to provide the performance, the comfort, the safety and the duration that are required by drivers and by the professionals of the sector. In our laboratory, we subject new materials to the most demanding tests in the world of friction, complementing the tests that are legally required by the Regulation 90 with a series of additional tests that are only in the scope of what is demanded by the vehicle builders. Our dynanometric benches, as well as our fleet of cars, do hundreds of thousands of test kilometers a year with the aim of investigating new materials and of checking the quality of the production in our factories. In the circuit tests carried out to obtain Regulation 90 recognition, we check the performance of the Roadhouse pads at different pressures and temperatures, the compressibility of the material, and the effect of speed on the coefficient of friction, comparing the results obtained with the values of the friction material of the vehicle's original equipment, allowing a tolerance of 15% above or below. The mountain tests in the Austrian Alps represent another indispensable standard to guarantee the safety of our products, foreseeing the problems of fading and comfort that can arise when the pads are subjected to high temperatures in prolonged descents. The compressibility of brake pads is a key factor influencing braking performance when it exceeds certain limits. Particularly at high temperatures, the risk of the brake pedal reaching the end of the stroke is unavoidable. This can result in loss of braking control of the vehicle, as often happens when travelling down mountain roads. European Union Regulation 90 addresses this potential risk by limiting the compressibility of the brake pads under a force of 4 tons to a maximum of 2% of their thickness at normal temperature and 5% at 400 degrees centigrade. Roadhouse brake pads comply well in excess of this requirement, and manufacturing conformity is achieved by continually monitoring the mixture, thus ensuring risk-free braking performance in any driving conditions. The metal support for an industrial vehicle brake pad is of vital importance for the accurate functioning of the brake system. The brake pad and the friction material produce tension caused by each one's different dilation coefficient. These cracks are especially dangerous because they can cause friction material to detach. To solve this problem, Roadhouse has designed and patented a new metal support attachment called LOC-SIS that generates a detachment resistance 30% superior to the traditional adhesion to the metal support. Hundreds of thousands of kilometers in tests have revealed spectacular results in which Roadhouse lasts 15% longer than half of other manufacturers with optimum braking conditions in terms of comfort and friction coefficient. The road tests are complemented by the Industrial Vehicle I&D Centre, in which they're subjected to dynamimetric testing that simulates the braking conditions for a 30-metre industrial vehicle at 300 kilometers per hour. In the same manner as automobile brake pads, the Roadhouse brake pads are produced in automatic deep mould presses, which provide the friction material with an unsurpassable density and homogeneity, especially indicated for industrial vehicles that are subject to severe working conditions.